This is a copy of some of the Bible study notes from 1 John chapter 2 verses 15 to 17. They're just short, so I'll just read them now. Do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the desires of the flesh and the desires of the eyes and pride of life, is not from the Father, but is from the world. And the world is passing away along with its desires. But whoever does the will of God abides forever. It's really important that we understand these first 5 words correctly. Do not love the world. If we don't understand these words correctly, we'll head in the completely wrong direction. So what does it mean, do not love the world? What is meant by the term world? Well, the world can mean a place. We all live on the world. The word world can mean the population, the world of people, and we're certainly to love them. But the word world can also mean the principles and priorities of our culture. And so John says, do not love the world. Do not love the principles, the priorities of our culture. But it's not only important we understand that last word, it's also important we understand the first 2 words as well. The words do not. What do the words do not mean in the Bible? Well, imagine you go to move house and you consider 3 different estates to buy a house on. Estate 1 has a sign up that says, do not play on the grass. Estate 2 has a sign up that says, do not graffiti on the walls. Estate 3 has a sign up that says, do not dig a grave for your neighbour in your back garden. Now, which estate are you going to move into? Now, the words do not, they don't simply tell you what the people in the estate are not to do. The words do not also tell you what the people in the estate have a tendency to do. They have a known bias to graffiti or to fight. It is this desire, their known bias, that needs restraining. So when you read the words do not in the Bible, remember, God is warning us about something we do, something we have a tendency to do. So don't read the words do not love the world as I don't love the world. No, we should read the words do not love the world as I do have a bias towards loving the world, and God commands me to do something about it. So what should we do about it? Well, imagine someone is on a tightrope and they're being given instructions. The instructor says, do not step to the right. Now, is the right response to that instruction to step to the left? No. If you're walking on a tightrope, if the instructor says do not step to the right, that doesn't mean you're to step to the left. That would be disastrous. Now, Christians, all Christians, have to walk the tightrope of being in the world, but not of the world. Some people hear the command do not love the world by stepping to the left. They wait for their breads to become dry before they eat it, because they can't love it and enjoy it. They chain their feet to the floor in case they ever tap their foot to a beat of a song. They hear do not love the world as do not touch the world, because all enjoyment is sinful. They deny themselves all pleasure and all worldly joy. And yet, the Bible tells us that pleasure in itself is not satanic, and neither is the denial of pleasure good. Paul writes in Colossians, such regulations about abstinence from worldly things Such regulations have an appearance of wisdom, with their self-imposed worship, their false humility, and their harsh treatment of the body, but they lack any value in restraining sensual indulgence. And then in Timothy he writes, "For everything God created is good, and nothing is to be rejected if it is received with thanksgiving. Command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant, nor to put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, but to put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment." So, do not love the world does not mean we're to avoid every single worldly enjoyment, the pleasure of food or the pleasure of music. However, this being said, we should not tone down the very serious nature of verse 15. He says, "Do not love the world or the things in the world, because if anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him." Well, what turns a healthy enjoyment into an unhealthy love? What turns a healthy enjoyment of joy and pleasure in the world into an unhealthy love? Well, in Western cultures, the word love has become associated with the word like. I love wool sausages actually means I like wool sausages. This has even filtered into our view of marriage. We like someone's appearance, we like their personality, we say I love you, but as soon as we stop liking them, we dump them, divorce them, or move on. In contrast, the word love in Eastern cultures is associated with loyalty. In Eastern cultures, such as the one John was writing to, marital love was based on long-term commitment. Verse 15 is challenging us about where our ultimate loyalty lies. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. In other words, we cannot love God and love worldly approval at the same time. We can only be loyal to one, either loyal to God or loyal to worldly approval. We might claim to love God and love the 21st century materialistic lifestyle, but which one are we going to be loyal to when both compete for our time and money and attention? If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. So what can we do about this? Our tendency to love and be loyal to the things of the world, to be loyal to worldly approval, to be loyal to the materialistic lifestyle. Well, rats cannot run under your floorboards if the space under your floorboards is full of concrete. And so, if your life is filled with love for the Father, there will be no room for the love of the world. It says, if anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. So if someone is so full of love for the Father, then there will be no room for love for the world. So how do we increase our love for the Father? Well, in chapter 4, verse 19, John says, "We love because he first loved us." If this is true, that we love God because he first loved us, then we need to remember his love for us, so that we might love him. But then again, it's also true that presumably we love the world because we think the world loves us. I think this idea is reflected in verse 16. "For all that is in the world, the desires of the flesh and the desires of the eyes and pride of life, is not from the Father, but is from the world." The pride of life, I think, refers to the things this world esteems. The thing our culture esteems and says will make us happy, satisfy us, bring us security, give our lives meaning and significance. Just as literal physical idols were statues that were placed on a pedestal, so too the world around us puts things on a pedestal. It puts sex on a pedestal, it puts success on a pedestal, it puts physical thing on a pedestal, and it declares these things will bring satisfaction, security, and status to your life. But if you can remember anything from today, remember, firstly, John's words in the Bible. But if you can remember two things today, remember this line from Courtney Barnett, an Australian singer. She sang, "Put me on a pedestal and I'll only disappoint you. Tell me I'm exceptional and I promise to exploit you." She was referring to herself and how people put her on a pedestal, and she said, "I'll just disappoint you." And she was saying, well, if you tell me I'm exceptional, then I'll probably exploit you. But what is true of people idolizing her is true of the things that we idolize. If you and I put anything on a pedestal, if we say this thing is the thing that will make my life perfect, solve all my problems, if we put anything on a pedestal, it will only disappoint us. If we put romance on a pedestal, like Hollywood does, we'll probably find that our hopes that marriage disappoints us. If we put the Western materialistic dream on a pedestal, we probably discover that materialistic possessions can't satisfy as much as we hoped. If we put a certain career on a pedestal, saying if I get this job I'll be happy forever, we'll probably find that it disappoints us and does not bring our life the meaning that we desire. Put me on a pedestal and I'll only disappoint you. Tell me I'm exceptional and I promise to exploit you. The moment you or the world treat anything as exceptional, it will exploit you. If you say, well, this job gives me an exceptional wage, it gives me exceptional status, then the boss will start demanding that you work extra hours and compromise on your integrity. In the UK, we have an exceptional access to entertainment and sport, but the industry demands higher prices, demands more of our time. If I treat other people's approval as exceptional, it can be demanding, always trying to please everyone, and they can bend our opinion. Put me on a pedestal and I'll only disappoint you. Tell me I'm exceptional and I promise I'll disappoint you. And so I think the solution is to treat everything in this world like chewing gum. Treat everything in this world like chewing gum. Enjoy the taste, but don't expect it to fully satisfy your hunger. You enjoy the taste of chewing gum, but you don't expect it to fully satisfy you. And so too, we can enjoy worldly pleasures, but I don't expect them to fully satisfy your desire for meaning, for satisfaction, for security, etc. As if John hadn't already given us enough reasons to not love the world, John gives us yet another reason to deter us from loving the world in verse 17. And the world is passing away along with its desires, but whoever does the will of God abides forever. So what deterrent is John trying to use? Well, Tim Keller said something very interesting. He said, we say it's only a game when we lose, but no one thinks it's only a game when they're winning. I think the point he's trying to make is this. It's very easy to ignore the meaninglessness of something trivial when you're caught up in the excitement of winning and the associated esteem. It's very easy to get caught up, I'm winning the family game of Monopoly, and to make it like it's the biggest thing in the world. Well, actually, it's really trivial. In much the same way, it's very easy to get so caught up in the excitement of our worldly idols, our possessions, our promotions, our pleasure, It's very easy to get caught up in the excitement of our worldly idols, that we forget they'll be meaningless long term. When we pass away, or when the world passes away, our possessions, our promotions, our pleasures will also be relatively meaningless. But take note of the tense that John uses in verse 17. He doesn't say the world will pass away. He says the world is passing away. John doesn't just want us to remember that these things that the world puts on a pedestal, well, they'll pass away eventually. He wants us to remember that this world is passing away now. Perhaps he's hinting that all pleasure in life evaporates as quickly as it comes. The author of Ecclesiastes knew this from experience. He says, I denied myself nothing. My eyes desired, I refused my heart no pleasure. My heart took delight in all my labour, and this was the reward for all my toil. Yet when I surveyed all that my hands had done, and what I had toiled to achieve, everything was meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Nothing was gained under the sun. And then again in chapter 1, all streams flow into the sea, yet the sea is never full. To the place the streams come from, there they return again. All things are wearisome, more than one can say. The eye never has enough of seeing, nor the ear its fill of hearing. John, the writer, was saying that all his pleasure in life, though he experienced it for a moment, it passed. The excitement of today disappears by tomorrow. Thankfully, John doesn't leave us hanging on such a negative note, despite it being true and needing to be said. John, in fact, ends on a positive. And the world is passing away along with its desires. But whoever does the will of God abides forever. And then in chapter 2, verse 25, and this is the promise that he made us, eternal life. John is reminding us that we have something much more lasting to live for God, for Christ, for the things of eternity. These are the things that are truly worth loving with all our heart, with all our soul, and all our strength.